Magic fans. We're coming to you from the Salt Cave again here, and love to have a guest, Jennifer Moss from Moss Greenhouse. She's been such a great client of ours and so supportive of our center.
Yeah, I'm at the 2-year mark now, technically.
I love it. You were pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think I was a founding member, but right after.
Yep.
And so, and I was actually walking my brother through some of your services yesterday, and he was like, I think I just need to go over there. I was like, absolutely. We just need to take you over there and show you the stuff. Even my husband, who was like, you and all your voodoo, he's like, I'd really like to go to float because I think that I could use some of that stuff.
I love it. That's awesome.
So slowly infecting.
Yes.
Slowly infecting.
Yes. You're setting the example.
I'm trying.
And I appreciate it. So kind of why I wanted you to come on is I know you've had some personal journeys that you're working through.
Oh, yeah. Health in 2023, technically.
Mm-hmm.
We're just a little bit into the new year. Yes, I have been down a road of autoimmune and inflammation / hormone system diseases and things that, I could take a pharmaceutical drug for, but I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the pharmaceuticals I was on are actually what led me to get those things. And so I think that my biggest learning in this journey, because it really started 2019, my appendix ruptured. Almost went septic because it exploded mid-surgery. They thought they got it all. The doctor was damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't excuse that the human body still is going to behave as the human body does.
Right.
I killed my entire gut microbiome. I already had diseases to begin with. I had endometriosis and PCOS. And so those are both, a lot of people think that they're, your reproductive system. Well, technically they're not. They're inflammation disease.
Yeah.
And that's what it took me a long time to get there, but I was having reactions that weren't in alignment with any of my, school of thought. I couldn't search this stuff. And so I got to a point where I was going to have to see 3 doctors to deal with one problem.
Oh, wow.
I was going to have to see an allergist, an internalist, and a gynecologist. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. But it's because of the inflammatory process.
Correct.
All of those specialties needed to attack it from those angles.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what was happening is I have endometriosis. I was treating with birth control 365 days a year, skipping my period per my doctor's instructions on a monocycling birth control. And I will remove us from all medical, we are not doctors.
No, we're
That's not what we're saying.
We are not doctors.
I'm an advocate for my own health. Mm-hmm. These were decisions I had to make. So in 19, my appendix ruptures. I met my deductible, spent 4 days in the hospital, almost went septic, killed my entire gut microbiome. All these things had happened. And at the end of 19, I was like, well, hell, I met my deductible. Why don't I get some allergy testing? So I go in, and I had allergy testing back in 14, and it was end of 19. And my 14 results were, you are allergic to the casein protein in cow's milk. So avoid dairy. Well, the end of my 19, without blood work, and the blood work is what said casein protein in 14. Without the blood work in 19, they'd done the skin test and the injections test. They said, you're lactose intolerant. And I was less than pleasant and awfully direct. Go get my file. Now.
Right.
You're telling me 2 different things. And they are not used to as educated as a patient as I think I was, because I understood what an intolerance does in the body versus an allergy.
Mm-hmm.
They're different things. They have very similar symptoms.
Sure.
They're really easy to mix
up. And that's why people it's gray, right?
All the time. It's no, it's not gray. They're different responses. And if you're putting something in your body you're allergic to, you're going to have a full-on autoimmune response.
Right. It could be anaphylactic. It could
be,
it's going to have it trigger something
just
intense.
Being intolerant.
Right.
Those are different. So what did I do? Because I'm a masochist, apparently. I started eating ice cream, which is a terrible idea. But I really missed ice cream. Well, every time I would eat ice cream, I would start a full-blown endometriosis period.
Huh.
And it was like, what in the actual bleep? I won't curse on your podcast. Occasionally we do it on ours.
I hear we do on yours, and I think that's lovely. But yeah, we not much.
It has its place.
Yes.
So
yes.
I had to set up 3 different appointments, and this was March 2020. Well, what happened in March 2020? COVID.
Yeah.
So I canceled everything and said, little old me is not going to eat ice cream anymore, which you and I had spoke. You introduced me to the idea of leaky gut. I saw somebody locally for a little while. That shook out to me looking for more professional help at a functional medicine clinic in Boise, and then working my way through this process. But what I found, kind of overarching, is the medical system, the modern medicine hospitals are there to save your life.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It's trauma medicine.
It is.
Yes.
And we have, as a society and as an entire culture in the U.S., leaned so heavy on, let's just take a pill. Well, you know what? That birth control, in turn, with the antibiotics from baby up, especially with the sepsis, with the appendicitis, I got leaky gut and small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And modern medicine only half recognizes that. They don't know how to treat it. They don't have a school of thought around it. So I had to go to functional medicine, which is a lot more based on, Chinese and
nutrition
Eastern medicine, whole body, whole system.
Yep.
Oh my God, it's made a just life-changing difference. It also helped me realize, and I've been trying to get this answer for 15 years, my mother had Graves' disease. She's in remission now. My uncle on my father's side, so direct descendant, both sides, he has a dead thyroid. He has hypothyroidism. So different things.
Yeah.
And so in this process, I found out I had officially hyperthyroidism. I'd been tested so many times for T3, T4, all that stuff. And you're within range. Well, no, I'm not.
No.
But everything on those tests. So do you know how many times I showed up to a doctor, got a metabolic panel, and was told I was 100% fine? But my BMI is extremely high.
Yeah.
I'm extremely muscular, but I'm unhealthy. But I'm perfect on paper. I have a resting heart rate of 55 beats per hour.
Yeah, that's an
minute.
athletic heart right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found that everything I'd been taught my whole life, and this journey for the last 3 years, I am so oversaturated.
Yeah.
And overwhelmed.
Yeah.
That I came to a head this fall and was just like, what in the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because I've gone back and forth on this journey. My body's gone through several different things, and I have existing trauma that we've talked about, and from when I was a teenager, and that all got brought back to life. Spring of 2021, I had an impressionable event that brought it all back, and I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have so many factors that no pill from a pharmaceutical company is going to solve it. So I said, okay, what's at the root of all these issues? I could spend another 10 grand, go to another functional medicine clinic and
get a lot of tests.
Oh yeah, I could do it. I absolutely could do that. But I started to okay, what's the common denominator? Okay, endometriosis, PCOS, it's inflammation.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the other thing that my doctors keep saying that will help my Graves, that will help? It's reduction of stress. Okay, well, I just became CEO of our company.
Yeah.
My stress levels are not going to go down.
Right.
They're only going to go up. But what can I control? My body's response to stress. I have to reteach it.
Yeah.
And so what is something that I have absolutely no problem doing, and I'm the anomaly, and I absolutely understand this. I have no problem doing really hard stuff.
Right. You have a great tolerance for being uncomfortable.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, because I understand the execution. If you can control your discomfort, you can control your growth. So if you're comfortable all the time, you're not growing in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
I am on a fast track for growing either myself as a person, our company, my family, my husband, my friends, being supportive, evolving as a human in the world. My goal ultimately when I start my day is I want to be strong, consistent, and heart forward. Not loving.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. I'm not a touchy-feely person. But I'm really good at being supportive and wholehearted.
Absolutely.
So my whole thing is strong, consistent, heart forward. Well, I also want to leave people better than when I found them.
Yeah.
That is kind of like an ultimate goal. if that's holding space for somebody going through things, if that is not passing judgment on people who are used to being judged.
Right.
I don't have a judgmental bone in my body. I
know.
don't have a jealous bone in my body. It doesn't exist for me.
It's absolute testament. You have shown up for me in that space so much in my personal life. You're speaking exactly. You're living exactly.
Well, and I have to live in alignment with that.
Yes.
So I could sit here and beat myself up of the wins, the losses. I mean, this has been an extremely personal journey for me.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my mom last night. I was like, there's been so much information health-wise thrown at me for so long.
Yeah.
And I make little strides and then I lose ground, or, the season starts. I work in a very seasonal company. I am a farmer in a box.
Right.
Like, do you want a stressful job? Put somebody in agriculture or the medical profession to a certain degree. But agriculture I'm completely dependent on something I have no control of, which is Mother Nature. Mm-hmm. And we live in Idaho. So
that's it. Yeah.
Insert that there.
Right.
And for those of you who are new to the area, welcome to winter.
Yes.
We're going to have it 6 more times before it's actually over. And it might be June. So, and that's normal. So what could I control? Mm-hmm. So I am literally, you and I had been batting this around. I said, I want to do a cold plunge. And you guys were working on a polar plunge challenge.
We were.
And so I've done a little bit of homework on the Wim Hof method. And I actually brought my book today. I've heard about this guy, the Iceman. And I am going to cuss for a second. But his motto is, breathe, motherfucker, breathe. And he is known he had an extreme life event happen. His wife committed suicide when they had little kids, jumped out of a building, and died, and so massive stress. Mm-hmm. So he started to cold plunge to be able to control his environment and his stressors. And then he developed some breathing exercises. I'm still learning them. I'm a little bit better at box breathing than Wim Hof method.
Box breathing is a good introductory process.
It's a good start to get in there. But breathing is the one thing that I have found through research on meditation, mindfulness, that can actually bring your stress levels down. Mm-hmm. Right. So the 2 things I'm trying to create is learning how to control my oxidative stress response in my person, which I cannot control myself, but I can. So learning how to hack that and then going to an inflammation level.
Yeah.
So I am kind of employing a 2-prong on the inflammation. So cold plunging. So you and I have committed. I'm 2 days in.
I'm so proud.
So
that's awesome.
I've done 2 minutes each day. So tomorrow I do another cold plunge right after my CrossFit workout.
Perfect.
And I'm going to try to get to 2.5 minutes.
Excellent.
I think that little 15 to 30 minute increments up to, I don't have any crazy goal yet. And that might change the next 2 months. So my goal is to go through February doing the cold plunging, at least regularly, to really explore the benefit to my person. And I think that I'm optimistic that I'm going to find that I really love it and it becomes part of my regular practice.
Absolutely.
And on the days that I'm not able to get in here, like I have a week of travel planned in the middle of January for a conference, I'm going to end each shower for 30 seconds to a minute of ice cold water. Everybody's just like, oh, God, you're nuts. First off, it's 23 degrees when I was driving in here. So, yes, it's cold.
It's cold.
And you don't want to do this at the end of your day because it heightens your entire parasympathetic and the other system.
The sympathetic nervous system.
The sympathetic and the parasympathetic.
Yeah, so we actually have days where our temperature peaks.
Yeah.
Or, throughout the day, our body core temperature cycle it's really low in the mornings. It peaks about midday and then it goes back to low. And your ability to warm up your body is a lot easier in middle of the day than it is end of day.
Then let me throw a total curveball at you. Mm-hmm. The female body, as you go through your cycle.
Yeah.
I am always hotter closer to my, menstruation cycle.
Yeah.
And
your body temperature rises a few degrees.
It goes up.
Or so. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like those are the nights where you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to die when you're laying in bed. Like I'm a hot sleeper. I'm also an anomaly. I'm a woman whose feet are never cold. My hands are never cold. I am a polar bear. I sleep with the window open 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
And a fan on always. And, just feel bad for my husband. He's doing just fine.
He can have a few extra blankets.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
He'll be fine. I put flannel sheets on for the first time since he's known me. He's like, are you feeling okay? I was like, It's flannel sheet and one comforter. That's it.
That's all we're
that
getting.
might not be enough. You're gonna find out pretty soon. So I just know that my core is, yes, I run actually warmer than most people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you took, this, what, 98.6 is the normal temperature. I'm never above 98 ever.
Yeah.
It's unless I'm sick.
Yeah.
I
Your
mean,
internal temp is about 98. Your external's right around 94, 95.
Yeah. Well, so my internal temp, I'm never really I'm usually a degree lower than the average at all times. Like I'm 97.6-ish regularly. Wow. But I love the cold. Yeah. I love the winter. Yeah. My entire profession is dependent on hot weather. Right. But the only thing I like about the summer is vegetables and concerts. So, I mean, and being able to hike in the morning kind of thing in the sun. But I love the winter. So cold is not scary to me. Now, I will tell you, I am videoing this entire process. I
love it. Which I would encourage everybody to do.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
You can do like a time lapse.
I do.
And you can,
I talk to the camera before.
Awesome.
I talk to the camera after.
Yeah.
I haven't been filming myself doing it yet. I will get to that point. But I'm explaining my apprehension, how I feel going into it. Like, do you know how hard it was to drive the car from the CrossFit gym to here yesterday morning?
Knowing what's waiting for you.
I had to actually pack my duffel, put it in front of the door so I couldn't ignore it the night before. And so like this morning I actually put the duffel on the bed and I was packing, and Brandon was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm packing my duffel for tomorrow so that I cannot talk myself out of
cold plunge."
So I'm using the James Clear Atomic Habits. I'm habit stacking so that I can't bail.
Right.
And oh my God, I didn't want to come here yesterday.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not. And as soon as I got out of the water, I was on fire. And I was like, cool.
Yes.
And so it just lit me up. And so it's one of those things. I'm embracing the suck.
Yeah. Which, I mean, so they talk, there's the mental capacity and the physical capacity of,
absolutely.
Of cold
You're
plunge.
building resilience
In both aspects. And when you're putting your body in that little stage of hormetic stress just for a little bit, your resilience is increasing every single time you do that.
Well, and think of human evolution, right? Fight or flight. We used to go into fight or flight because a cougar was chasing us.
Right.
Not an email from our boss.
Yes. Or a paper that is,
or something that's outside of our realm of control, that we are just programmed now in today's world that's an emergency. You're teaching your cells on a cellular level that this is actually what stress is.
Yeah.
And so I've even been tracking my heart rate because, listening to Wim Hof, he says your resting heartbeat's going to go down like 10 beats. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty low.
Like I'm going to be in the 40s. Okay.
So I'm curious. But I always look at my heart rate when I get out. And so my first time it was like 76. I only went to my belly button on Sunday, but I got all the way up to my chest yesterday and I was 86, but it comes down really quickly.
Yeah.
But then everything else that happens to you throughout the day, you start to realize that you're not having that stressful heat up response.
Right.
And I mean, homework for your listeners. My life coach suggested this on Disney Plus. They just came out with a show called Limitless.
Oh, yes.
And it's with Chris Hemsworth. I'm 5 of 6 episodes through, but the cold plunging is like a big piece of it. And he does like a swim out in the Nordic, in Norway, out in the Arctic.
In the cold, ice covered.
Little colder than your cold plunge
now. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I'm sure.
There seems to be this magic that happens between 3 to 5 minutes for the body. So staying in the water that long.
Yes.
So I did my first plunge like a month or so ago. I only lasted like a minute 46.
Yeah.
So I started my goal with 2 minutes, with the goal of being in the next 2 weeks up to 3 minutes. And so I'm not trying to go 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy. Some people's like, you're nuts. But once you get in that state and you start to understand the benefits and what it does for you, it changes your mindset. And the other factor of this is I'm cutting out all inflammatory foods for 8 weeks.
Which I think is incredible. Like,
you know how
what
little
a
I
gift.
can eat?
I know. I've done those anti-inflammatory
it's actually,
diets, and there's
I'm
hardly
actually
anything.
really excited about it. Think of it this way. So you do a fist and a half of protein per meal, and you're eating about 4 cups of vegetables a day.
Yeah.
So a cup plus of vegetables a meal, and you get fruit, and make sure you got healthy fats. It's really not hard.
Right.
Everything else is out though. Like, so
Well,
I'm
and
even
you're simplifying though too.
Oh,
like if you
absolutely.
think about it, like there's a lot of energy that goes into what am I going to eat today?
Oh yeah.
What am I going to cook for dinner? What am I going to prefer for lunch? Where am I going to go? If you're reducing that focus
Decision
and having
fatigue.
Yes,
I
you just
suffer
have this
all the time.
Yes, well, especially as a business owner, as a CEO of a company,
And
as
a mom, a parent,
right,
a wife, like all those things.
Yes, absolutely,
exhausting.
it is. And so it's simplifying that process and also speaking definitely to that 3 to 5 minute window is the magic window.
That's the secret sauce.
It really is.
I'm not trying to, run a marathon in the cold plunge.
No,
that's not what I'm trying to do.
Nobody really should. Like beyond 5 minutes, the benefits that you get with cold plunge are not so increasingly better. That it's that 3 to 5 minutes is the absolute best window.
Yeah,
that's the hormesis sweet spot, is what we call it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes, especially as women,
yes,
we are trying to control so many things in a day.
Yes.
And I've had to ask myself a lot, does this actually matter? Does this actually matter?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, we're all experiencing a trauma after the worldwide pandemic that, mental health's now more of a candid conversation,
right.
Taking care of yourself. Float
Thank
magic,
heavens.
I cannot imagine if I didn't have float. I really can't. But you're going to see more benefit from doing a longer float or a longer Novathor or a longer sauna than you are from cold plunge.
Yes.
Cold plunge is it's a finite window. So I'm not asking my body to do something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody who hates cold, it's like, you're nuts. But it's not that extreme.
No.
My eating's going to be a lot more extreme.
Right.
But
and that intentional, like you're deliberately putting yourself in a situation where you're creating mind over matter.
And I'm controlling
And you're
that.
controlling it.
But
Yes.
do you know, by embracing this challenge, how easy it's been to look at my staff or look at the kids and say, you know what, that doesn't really matter. You make the best decision based on this information. And that helps my decision fatigue.
Awesome.
It helps take that weight off. And it's like, this is the one thing I can control. I wake up, I go to bed at a certain time. I don't always sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Graves' disease, sleep is elusive at times. That's just part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You can self-medicate in whatever way. I don't like sleeping pills.
Right.
They are its own version of narcotic.
It's not great the next morning when you wake up.
Yeah, it's like a hangover.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm so kind of to hold myself accountable. I am giving up alcohol for the next 26 months.
Amazing.
It's till I turn 40.
Talk about inflammatory response.
Oh my gosh. And I've had to quit drinking before for medical reasons. But the liver enzyme issue, I wasn't processing. Well, it makes me sick now. I famously, for a week after, my belly is disrupted.
Yeah, it's so bad for your gut.
And some people, giving up alcohol is a cakewalk. For me, other people are like, oh my God, what will I do at night?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
maybe there's other things.
Right. You do some yoga.
Yes.
You actually have to replace that
Why don't
habit
you
or that hobby.
jump into a sauna? And
Exactly.
allow your
There's so
body
many
to-
other things you could do. And so to hold myself accountable, I'm using a school of thought that's pretty easy to follow. Dr. Will Cole's inflammation spectrum. So he's got his eliminate, right?
Yes.
There's the core four. So the core four are grains.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gluten and all grains. Corn is a grain.
Corn's a grain.
You and I have talked about this
Yes.
in length. And corn and rice are my staple grains.
Yeah.
Well,
No longer.
I'm giving them up.
Yeah.
Dairy, I'm allergic to casein, protein, and milk. I've still kept butter in up until the last 6 weeks.
Really?
And I got to take butter out.
Yeah.
Then it's added sugars, which, a lot of people don't realize how addicted you are to sugar. When you take sugar out, everything else tastes better.
Yeah.
It takes about 2 or 3 weeks for your taste buds to adjust.
Right.
But my
flavors
God,
are more intense.
there's so much more.
And
it's
in just
incredible.
your regular herbs and
Oh, yeah.
and spices create I agree.
It's incredible. And
Agreed.
then the fourth one is industrial oils. So canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil. I'm saying that right. So basically I'm down to olive, coconut, and maybe avocado, depending if it's processed.
Right.
Exactly. So
Like
depending
all
on my
seed
sourcing.
oils are out.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I primarily cook with olive and coconut, so it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
Okay, those ones seem easy because I really don't eat a ton of that stuff to begin with because of my digestive issues. Part of leaky gut is I'm allergic to a whole crap ton of stuff.
Sure.
But it's not actually an allergy. It's an intolerance, and then your body, leaky gut, for those who don't know it, your stomach becomes, what should be a solid barrier from one organ into your next system. It's not.
It's porous.
Yeah. And there's no permeability, and the cells in gluten and dairy get out, and then they get into your bloodstream, and the body starts to attack it.
Right.
So you're actually creating autoimmune disease by having leaky gut. And everybody has some degree of it.
Well, because our diets today are so...
And our pharmaceuticals. Because mine all starts with antibiotics between 0 and 1 for massive ear infections. That's where mine starts. And then add sepsis and losing an organ in there.
Right.
And just compounding. And then the oral contraceptives for so long. Like mine was kind of perfect. Everybody's biodiverse.
Yeah.
So, all right. So those are the first 4 categories. The next 4 are what scares the living piss out of me. Okay, because these are staple foods for me. Nuts and seeds. I drink nut milk, almond milk on the regular. Legumes, they're a major protein source for me because I've started to respond to red meat. So I've taken red meat. Red meat's also an inflammatory. It's not a part of Dr. Will's, but I'm taking it out. So, and I feel so much better when I do. Then it's nightshades and eggs.
How eggs.
So
eggs are such a staple for me. Like that would be
big
so
time.
hard.
So in my last blood test, and I'm getting another one in 2 days. So I'm getting my information updated because after my little 19, I'm going to eat ice cream and then bleed very strangely. I haven't done the blood work. So I'm actually getting the blood work done. Good. I am actually anaphylactic allergic to hazelnuts. And I had an exposure back in November when I was down in California on a family vacation. Thought it was chocolate and strawberry crepe. It was a Nutella and strawberry crepe. And I had my first exposure. And it scared me to death. Yeah. And so I had no EpiPen. So now I'm going through the process of getting myself an EpiPen. And, here's the funny thing. My family, we have pollen allergies. We have very few food allergies. So
You run a greenhouse and you have pollen allergies.
Oh, buddy. Asthma and allergy knows us all very well.
So, yes.
So I've had to learn all those things. So egg whites comes up. Almonds comes up.
Yeah. Coconut milk it is.
Yeah, coconut milk it is. And then nuts and... so legumes and nightshades I wanted to keep.
Yeah.
They're a huge lectin source. So if I'm going to do this right, I need 8 weeks of clarity with none of this garbage in my system. So I'm just going to, track my whole thing. I'm going to try and get a continuous glucose monitor. I'm going to get my blood tested. I mean, I have a huge goal. And we'll end on this, but first off, I'm going to challenge everybody. Come and do something that makes you really uncomfortable.
Yes.
Do it early in the day if you're going to do cold plunge. Don't do it at the end of the day.
Right. Well, unless you really want to be uncomfortable, you do it at the end of the day. That's up to you.
That's up to you.
Yes. But yeah, earlier in the day is definitely a challenge enough.
It's going to set you up and put you on fire. It's like if you work out at the end of your day, it takes you a little while to ramp down.
Right.
It's the same thing with the
you're getting
plunge.
that dopamine release. You really don't want that right before you go to bed. So earlier in the day is the better option.
So my big, huge goal is I want to be in the best shape of my life when I turn 40. That is 26 months away as of yesterday. And so I've got a lot of work to do. I used to be a junior Olympic athlete in high school. I want that body back. And I'm not going to be some little tiny thing. I'm going to be tough as nails though.
Yeah.
I might be bench lifting people. I have no problem with any of that, but I want to be strong. I want to be confident. I'm going to put out a big challenge in, I think it's the summer of 2024. I want to do the 29029 Everesting. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, so what they do, I was introduced to it by Dave and Rachel Hollis when they went and did it down at Park City, but basically it's 29,029 feet to the top of Everest. Okay. Right? That's the elevation.
Okay.
They do this at Snow Basin, Sun Valley, Whistler, Jackson Hole, a couple of the mountains. I think Alta's in there. And they climb that mountain. So like at Snow Basin, it's 13 times. at Sun Valley. It's 15 times. I've signed up to volunteer at the Sun Valley one this summer because
cool.
I like to see how something works and get kind of infected by an inspiration. I have zero problem donating my time if it's available. And I've done like putting medals on people at Ironman races and stuff, and that just really inspires me, especially when the lady who's like the age of my grandma comes through. I'm like, what the hell am I doing with my life? So I think that those are really cool things. So basically, you have 36 hours, I think is what it is, 32 or 36 hours to hike the mountain that many times to summit Everest.
Interesting.
And they have like bibs with your name on it, and they have different mountain peaks that when you've done it 7 times, it's this mountain. When you've done it 3 times, it's this mountain. And so the summer right before I turned 40, and I'm a March birthday, I'm a little Pisces, little fish, so float magic's perfect for me.
Right at home here.
Yeah, right at home here. I like water. But I want to climb Everest, or at least try, you know? Because, I mean, how many people challenge themselves on that level regularly?
Right.
And those are the people that really like move mountains.
Well, yeah, those are the ones creating shifts in the way we are
momentum,
as humans.
energy.
Yes. And they're starting businesses, and they're creating new ways of doing things, and they're finding new discoveries. I mean, it's...
And speaking to a post I saw you put online recently, I don't like stereotypes.
Yeah.
I hate them. And I know I'm going over time, Zach. He's giving me the fingers and everything. I think that stereotypes are just somebody's comfort level of explaining how the world works.
Yeah, sure.
I don't fit into any box. I'm a woman who's happily married that will not take her husband's name.
Yeah.
I stand on my own. I have zero problem looking a man in the eye and say, would you have said that if it was my dad or my brother in this room? I challenge the gender stereotypes. I also hold no judgment against people, your religious, your sexual orientation, your spiritual, your political even.
Right.
Like, I disagree with most people in this valley. It doesn't matter. I don't think less of you. As long as you're not shoving it down my throat, I don't care.
Yeah.
You have a reason for feeling that way. That's absolutely fine for you. That's your reality. I'm okay with that. It doesn't affect me. And I don't let it affect me.
Yeah.
And people get so tied up on that. And I just challenge people to say, who do you feel like you are? Who cares what any of these other people think?
What perspective are you coming from? And is the perspective of others really have a bearing on
that's
how
the
you're
thing
going to do what
so
you're doing?
many people have a hard time divorcing. I'm going to use that word because you really have to divorce it in entirety. I don't care what other people think of me.
It's a beautiful place to be.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's so freeing. Once you release that, and you know, like keeping up with the Joneses, you don't have to do any of that. I don't care what Susie down the street or, you know, Sam across the street has. I want to make sure that it looks like me, that it talks like me, it feels like me.
Well, and that's wasted energy on all the stuff.
And resources.
Yes, all the stuff that, I mean, you know what you have to get accomplished in a day. I know what I have to get accomplished. I don't even have the time to be considering what is being affected.
Well, and we're so strapped for time.
In everybody else's perspective. Yeah. Yeah. We are so strapped for time.
We're so strapped for time.
And it just keeps speeding up. Like, right? That they say as you age, time just speeds up. I get it.
I swear that is the truth, too. Everything goes by faster. And I think it's because we get more things in our life. There's just more and more and more. And like,
and our perspective of time shifts too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, at 40, a year is a 40th of our life. At 4, it was a 4th of our life, right?
Exactly.
So
it's a big thing. So
yes.
I want to be in the best shape of my life when I'm 40 because I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
And that's like such a crazy, insane concept. But I'm like, I could do the Spudman triathlon that year. I could climb a mountain. Like, okay, so I'm using the gap in the gain concept of those two gentlemen that wrote their books, whose name's escaping me right now. But basically they say, okay.
Is that peak performance?
No, it's called the gap in the gain.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the idea is that we look ahead and go, oh gosh, that goal seems so crazy. Right? Okay, so I want to be in the best shape of my life when I'm 40. When I look at it that direction forward, I'm like, oh God, what has to actually happen? Like, what steps do I take? Well, reverse it. So I'm an engineer's daughter, so processes is something I understand really well, and math. So I know what X is. So what if that's X, A plus B equals X, I know what A is because that's where I'm starting and I know where I want to get to. I got to reverse engineer to figure out what B is.
Yeah.
So I want to be in the best shape of my life when I'm 40. What has to be true?
Yeah. What has to take
look
place?
backwards.
Yeah.
So I'm starting at a cellular base level, trying to hack my cells.
Mm-hmm.
I'm changing what's going into them. I'm using a medical team, a team of people on my tribe to help support me through this. And I'm going to learn a lot as I go. Mine isn't, I'm going to go to a bodybuilders conference at 40. Like, no, that's not where I'm headed with this.
Yeah.
I want to be able to climb a mountain. I want to set big goals and I want to achieve them. And whatever that looks like. It might not be doing 15 times up Sun Valley. It might be 10.
Sure.
And that might be what it is that time. So then the next year, maybe I'll make it. I don't know.
Right. But
I might
but
find out I hate it.
But 10 is going to be the best shape, the best you've ever done.
Exactly.
So you've got to take your rewards.
Oh, absolutely. I can hike Sun Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can do that. I do that in the summer.
Yeah.
I love that.
And you snowshoe throughout the winter.
Oh, yeah. I'll get, people are like, it snowed 3 foot. I'm like, let's go climb a mountain. They're like, you're nuts. I'm like, you'll be so warm climbing that mountain. You're not going to get cold.
It's not going to be cold.
But it's also one of the most peaceful, lovely places you could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And so my invite to people is embrace the discomfort because that's where growth is going to happen. You want to level up. You're unhappy with something. Make a change.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Intentional.
Intentional.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't just
deliberately
shoot blanks.
Right.
I mean, you could do that all day, but say, what do I want? Or what would be so cool? And talk as if you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would a healthy person do in this moment? What would a person who's trying to climb a mountain do in this moment? Well, she's probably not going to eat all the cookies.
Right. Pizza's probably off the table.
Yeah. Or I have a big talk tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that I fill my body with things that are going to make me feel good. Because food just levels me. Yeah. I can't tolerate a lot of things. And things that nobody should be upset eating. It happens to me on a daily.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like that anymore. So I have to control it.
That's awesome, Jennifer.
Big, huge changes.
Yeah.
Like sitting in front of, making cookies all holidays and not touching anything.
Right.
Talk about self-control.
Yes, that's discipline.
Embracing the suck.
Yeah.
I have to have a lot of people like, get in here. You got to try the sugar cookie dough. Did I put salt instead of sugar?
Right. Does it taste okay?
Yeah, are we okay? It smells
it.
great. Nope, I'm too stuffy. Can't smell it. So I decide where you want to come from. I've been trying to find my why in this whole thing. Yeah. And I keep coming back to, autoimmunity, diseases, diabetes. I might be really healthy on paper, but my weight says that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if anybody looked at what I ate in a day, they'd be like, how in the hell?
How is that even possible?
Well, I got bacteria.
Bacteria that causes inflammation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got bacteria. I don't have any lactobacillus in my system. That is one of the key components to digestion.
Oh, my goodness.
I have no lactobacillus.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is a humongous family of bacteria that helps you digest. And so with that, I have to know what's happening so that I can adjust.
Yeah.
So, you're going to go through hard. Do you want to go through hard when you're retiring and you have all this time and you have the money, but you're bedridden or you can't walk or you have to replace all of your joints? No, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to be where my grandfather is with dementia. I don't want to die of Alzheimer's like my great-grandmother. I don't want osteoporosis like 3 generations of women back in my family. I don't want that. I want longevity. So embrace the suck. Put yourself in an uncomfortable position because
temporarily.
Yeah. Well, and control your discomfort.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're searching for growth with intentional growth. And then, buy the concert tickets. Life is short.
Yes.
We need to celebrate with that.
Absolutely.
So, that's my story, and I know we've gone way past time.
I love it, though.
I do that
It's
a lot
always,
with Zach.
It's so great to have. Just to be able to put that personal component to how people are utilizing our center for their self-gain. I greatly appreciate that you are willing to come on and be vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
And share with everybody. So thank you.
Keep watching Shawnee's because we're going to document this.
Yeah.
Zach will help us put together something. We're going to probably challenge him to do some cold plunging.
You're going to do cold plunge, right, Zach?
That's a non-committal shrug. That's what that was.
we got to convince.
Well, I think that once people start to visualize and see the changes, not just with me, but with, several of the people sharing the float journey with cold plunge.
Yeah.
Kayla, who runs your center, she's doing all the time. She chases the high.
Yeah.
That's okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Like, that actually makes sense. And so,
and everything else seems easier.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
You actually are getting your system back to what evolutionarily we're set up to do.
Exactly.
And that, how much better would it, you have a stressful day at work and you come home and your kids are being difficult because that's the nature of being a parent, or your spouse or your mother called, whatever it is, and you don't have that stress response.
Yeah.
And you therefore are calmer, you're a better parent, you're a better partner, you're a better son, daughter, and you're able to go through life at a more temperate speed so that when you really need that energy boost, when you really need it, you have it.
Yep.
Because you've controlled your stress response.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's
worth it.
It is. It's absolutely worth it.
But it takes 3 to 5 minutes of discomfort.
And that's
on
all.
a regular basis.
3 to 5 minutes a day.
3 to 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
In whatever, or just ending your shower with a minute of cold water.
Right.
If you don't have a tank or you don't have access or resources to get it, fine.
Yeah. At least go there. At least start there, because that.
So when I was a little kid,
benefit.
I didn't realize I was introduced to this. So my grandpa on my mom's side, her stepdad, he always had a hot tub. They had a swimming pool. I got to go up there for a week every summer up in Spokane. They lived on the golf course up there, Manitou. And he had a cold tub right next to his hot tub.
Smart.
Every time he got out of the hot tub, because he hot tubbed every single morning after swimming laps in the pool, then he'd go to the hot tub, then he'd go immediately and sit in that cold. And we as little kids were like, okay, who could sit in it the longest? You know? But now I'm just like, oh gosh, when we do the addition on the house, I'm going to put in a hot tub and I'm going to put in a cold tub, and then I can make this work.
I actually have an outdoor shower next to my hot tub at home for that very reason.
Exactly.
It's, you get to the point where you're like, how can I just incorporate
this into my
habits? Yes.
Habit stacking. James Clear.
Atomic Habits.
A good one. Gab in the Gain. Wim Hof method.
Wim Hof.
You have homework, everybody.
Well, awesome. Well, we're going to wrap this up, and we appreciate you so much, Jennifer, for coming.
Stay tuned. We'll have more updates as it goes.
That's right. We're gonna keep on this trajectory of.
Here we are.
Yeah, it'll be great. So thanks for tuning in, people. A little bit of a salty podcast today. Yeah. So just remember, it's perfectly okay to stay salty.